once canceled a vacation after losing an Olympic qualifying event to Danny Davis. How do you handle losing?
It's a mixture of things. I'm pretty upset, obviously. I don't like to lose in any scenario. It's funny because I can't turn the competitiveness off. Like if you and I had just won a snowboard contest and then we played chess and I lost, I would be extremely upset about it. I can't there's no difference. I get just as tied up in whatever I'm doing at the time. So that did something amazing to me though, because I learned the trick, the double McTwist 1260, like probably 2 days later. So that's what it does. I mean, I really feel like that's like a true, competitor in the way. And that's, I think, one of my favorite parts about myself is that, I don't know, I always feel like I can't lose because I show up, and if I win, that's great. And I'm motivated to try to win again. And if I lose, it's almost even better because I get driven and I know where I need to be now.
When you were 14 or 15, you lose an event and you're bummed out, and you happen to run into one of your idols, and he signs a poster for you. Yeah. You remember what the poster said and kind of explain what it means to you?
Yeah, as a professional snowboarder from way back, and he ended up signing this poster, and he wrote, "Contests mean nothing." And it was interesting because he knew I was very upset about the event I had just lost, and I know that for this limited amount of time, it means the world to you in that sense. But it just means that maybe you weren't the best on that day, and that's how I really interpreted what he was trying to say to me in that sense. Is like, look, like there's another event, there's another thing. Like you move on, you move past it. It doesn't really, it means a lot, but it doesn't really mean anything. As long as you're enjoying yourself and you're there and you actually put everything out on the table, then it's fine. Like I think the best scenario for me is if I do everything that I can and I lose, then I'm content with that. Because it's all I have.
Okay.
It's all I have. I entered an event, gosh, it was 2000, I want to say 11, and I was at X Games. And I walked into the slaughter because there's two events, especially now there's two events in the Olympics coming up. There's half pipe, which is what I've done the past 2 years, which is the two walls going downhill. And then there's another event that's called slope style, which is jumps and rails and different obstacles in one long run. Uh-huh. And I normally compete in both, but Olympic years I take it off because there's no real point for me to do that. I just focus on the half pipe.
Right.
But I walked into this event knowing I was going to lose because I hadn't hit a jump in about 2 years, and all these guys, that's all they do all day long. And I got destroyed. I didn't even make finals. But I did it because I knew two things were going to happen. First would be I knew that I would be really upset and get motivated to get better. Uh-huh. And then the second thing would be that I now know where the bar is at. I saw what my competitor that won that event, what he did to win that event, and I know now where I need to be because of that. So I really feel like if you look in that scenario, it's like you can't really go wrong. There are no mistakes in that sense. It's just all learning.
You said before, I get stressed about everything.
Yeah.
I have so much going on, it overwhelms me sometimes. How do you cope with stress?
Depends. I mean, I usually skateboard, I snowboard. I mean, that's kind of how I used to do things. I mean, I get upset at school and I get upset, just in family scenarios, and I go to the skate park. I'd be there for like 3 hours.
I mean, but now that's kind of the same thing that's responsible for creating the stress or all the extracurricular type things surrounding that, right?
Yeah, I mean, it is and it isn't. I mean, I still I enjoy myself. Like I get fulfillment, but when I learn a new trick, it's like I've got something, It's really hard to describe it. Yeah, if I show up to the skate park and I've been falling at, try after try after try, and I finally land something I've never done before, it's like this amazing feeling. And I can't really get that instant gratification anywhere else in life sometimes, you know what I mean? A lot of things take time, and I can go to the skate park and know that I'm gonna have a really good time and I'm gonna be out and exercising and doing something, and then, I don't know, it just kind of works out. I think lately what's exciting is that the more time I spend away from the sport, the more I want to go back to it. So if I'm here in New York and I'm hanging out and I'm having a good time, like I start to miss my sport. And so it's like, you know, the thing that happens there is that once I come back to it, I'm excited again. I've been snowboarding since I was 6 years old. I mean, for me to show up and be extremely excited to go snowboarding, that's a big deal. You know?
So the time away is really good for you then?
I think it's just as important as the time on the hill. And I think people miss that. They misjudge that. It's just like I was talking about over practicing earlier. You know, over practice, are you insane? You need as much practice as you can. No, I mean, sometimes that's not the case. At the Olympics, I fell my first hit the run before I won during practice. I was sitting there and I dropped and I fell on the first hit. And I look back up at my coach and I'm like, I had this panic moment of like, do I unstrap my board and like literally run back up and try to do it again to make sure? And he gave me the like, no, just get out of there. And at that moment, I was comforted because I know that, you know, maybe, you know, there's 10 runs in me and there's maybe one fall in there. So I just got that out of the way. So I have 10 great runs coming up, you know, and that's how I look at it. It's like, you know, you can be your own worst enemy at that point. And for me, especially on the mountain, I show up, I ride. If I stay there too long, I lose motivation. I can get hurt. You know what I mean? If you're going into some crazy trick or something that's really intimidating and you don't have like your full heart and motivation into it, it's a bad scenario.